Hey y'all, hey, it's Coffee with Friends, and I am raw to the bone. Happy Thursday, y'all. Come on in the room, come on in. I'm going to start the mood off, reminding you that it's going to be a good day. Good morning, Stacy. Didn't I just get off the phone with you?
Step one, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step
Good
two,
message today, y'all.
Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four,
We got a good message, huh?
wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Huh?
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up,
Oh, wait.
today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.
Hey, Nakia. Wait, I got some.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do. The aftermath of preparation.
Good food, good mood. Hey, one step at a time. Hey, Chicago. Huh? You got a whole new look, bro. And if I make a mistake, it's called education.
I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Hey.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
What?
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up,
y'all.
Wake up,
Today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up,
I got a good message.
good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. So life ain't easy, yo. I think there's a reason, though.
Ups and downs,
just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high,
other times I'm barely breathing, y'all.
But you always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison the ride. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap.
All the bad for the good in my head.
When I'm lost.
Hey, what?
So I'ma fake it till I make it.
Positive vibes are
overtake it. I got patience. One day at a time. It's how you operate a cadence.
Afloat, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation.
I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life.
Oh,
like
shit! Don't expect greatness through my best man. I take it. Hey! Well, I'm happy you finally got the surgery, Chicago, because god damn it, you had a whole person on your face. I mean, I got a little person too. Mine is little. Today's gonna be a good day. Hey, you know, Mark, I always bust your chops because you had that bump on your face, right? But I got one right here, and I did go to the doctor, and they were like, "It's so small, leave it because it's just gonna create a scar on your face." And I was like, "Well, a scar, a bump, same thing." And so I left it. But if it gets bigger, God dang it, believe you me, I will be taking it out. See, you know, so when I take my pictures, y'all can see my little baby lump too. Well, I mean, Chicago, I didn't tell everybody you had a titty on your face. I said it on the show, so that's how everybody heard it. And I mean, you know, it's not like they couldn't see it. It was there. I mean, even when it got shaped like a torpedo, I mean, I was like, oh shit, the shit is pointy. I didn't remember it being pointy before. Good morning, Liebert. I didn't remember it being pointy. And I was like, is that shit gonna pop? Like, oh my God, it's gonna smell and shit. But I love you. I'm just saying. I mean, your life still ain't worse than P. Diddy's. So let's think of it that way. So talking about, what the hell is that? Oh, the little rubbery thing came off my glasses. That means I got to go get them fixed. The little rubbery thing that sits on my nose came off my glasses. So what do y'all think about P. Diddy's trial so far? Before I get into the positive read of the day, my book is falling apart. But y'all know we are in May. That's the month of acceptance. And, there's a lot of shit that we need to accept in our lives. But, doctors will do that. It's called practicing medicine. This is why I'm in the situation I'm in right now. Like, this is why sometimes we have to get multiple doctors' opinions, right? And then we got to go with our gut that tells us which one we feel is the most. And even then, our life is in their hands. So I get it, Chicago. I get it. So the Diddy trial, right? I'm just scrolling all through social media and I'm reading all the different comments, and there's a population of people that's calling Cassie nasty and saying she needs to take accountability for this, and saying that she could have left at any point she wanted, just like J-Lo left, just like all the other girls left. She could have left just like them, right? And then the other half of the population is saying Diddy is nasty. He's abusive. He instills fear in her. How could he do that? Why would he want her to sleep with male escorts and then rub their semen on his nipples and stuff like this? I'm just telling y'all what I'm reading on social media. Now, I'm going to be honest. See, I got the word freaky fucked up. See, I thought I was a little freak. I did. I thought I was. But reading this shit from this trial, I'm almost like a fucking nun. Because, baby, blood and shit on the walls, like literally, period, blood and feces on the walls and on the beds. I'm a nun. Okay, forget anything I've ever said about being a freak. I am not. I don't do piss in my mouth. I don't be rubbing other men's semen on my man's nipples. Like I don't even know any freaky people now. See, I thought I knew freaky people. I don't know no freaky people. Okay? Now, ultimately, these people are grown, right? And I was going there, Stacey. These people are grown, and so sexually they could do what they want to do, right? And so a lot of people are saying that why are they harping on, good morning, Jerry Robinson. Why are they harping on this domestic abuse and sexual abuse case when he is in there for, sex trafficking and all this other stuff? Why are they focusing on the domestic violence portion of it, right? I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. I do have my master's in criminal justice. That doesn't make me smart in the criminal area at all. But there is a thing called building character, okay? A trial of this magnitude is not going to start out with the sex trafficking, right? The whole idea is to build his character for the jurors, right? To show what type of character this man has, right? So to me, this is why they started out with Cassie. This is my opinion. And I think it's smart, right? Because ultimately, if I was in the jury, I'd be like, oh my God, this motherfucker is disgusting. That by the time that they brought up the other portions of the case, because those other things are going to come up. Right now, they are building his character. They are showing you who he is, okay? That's a part of a case of this magnitude. And so a lot of people are questioning why are we focusing on the domestic violence, and that's the answer, right? They have to show you his character before they get into the meat of things. All right. And so this character shit is going to take days, right? Might take weeks, right? And then they come with the other evidence, right? Which will be able to be ingested by the jury, because now the jury is already looking at him like a monster. And so, of course, he's able-bodied with his mental capacities, how they built him up character-wise to be able to pull all this other stuff off. And so, I hopefully people understand that. That's why they are focusing on the domestic violence piece of it. Now, until you ask the lawyer directly, we'll never know the answer, but that's my opinion, based on, experiences, I guess. Okay. Jerry said kinks and fetishes, no judging. Oh, well, Jerry, let us not go there, because we all know. Good morning, Valerie. We all know that you're not judging. Okay. We all know that you're into the kinks and the fetishes. So we know that you probably don't mind the blood and the shit on the walls. Now, I'm not judging. Look, I'm drinking from my no judgment cup. I am. I'm not judging, but I'm just saying, damn. And you're right, Stacy. Being a freak and having freak offs is not against the law, right? And so again, this is just character building, right? Because then they need to get into the filming of these things, right? And again, in some states, like Nakia pointed out to me, I believe it was Nakia that pointed it out to me, right? This is why I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I need my friends to be smarter than me, okay? Some states, only one person needs to be aware that there's a recording going on. So I don't know the law in Miami, right? But that's going to come up, right? The filming of people, how those tapes were utilized. Some people might have been blackmailed. Y'all got to keep in mind also, people like Albie Shore has been subpoenaed to testify. And he has said loudly on podcasts and such that he will be testifying. Okay. And when he gets on the stand, those questions and that story is going to be around Kim Porter and how Albie Shore ended up in the hospital. So there's going to be a lot of shit that we're going to hear. We don't even know if people like Justin Bieber were subpoenaed. Believe you me, this case is going to be bigger than this Cassie piece that we're hearing. This is just building character, showing you his character. So make him look worse than what the actual case is. Well, Mark, I don't know how to take that statement, because when you say make it worse than the actual case is, what do you mean? You don't think it was worse that he dragged this woman down a hotel corridor, that he beat her? Forget the sexual stuff that she might have consented to, but you can't make somebody look worse who already made themselves look worse, right? This is on film. Okay? I'm just saying. They're just telling the truth. How it makes him look is why the jury is there. We all got kinks and fetishes, some nastier than others. Well, I'm going to be honest. I thought I was in that life. I'm not in that life. If this is what kinks and fetishes is, I'm not in that type of thing. I guess I'm just regular vanilla. I thought I was doing something. So Kim Porter is also going to come up. Yes, because Albie Shore, as y'all know, is Kim Porter's ex-man and baby father, right? Diddy raised his child, and Albie Shore touched on that as well. His child still legally has his biological father's last name. But there is definitely more to come. All right. So we don't know who else is going to be subpoenaed to the stand. Cassie is just the first chunk of it. Florida is a two-party state, so all parties have to consent to being recorded. So a person can sue. Okay. So that's going to be an issue. So any freak offs that had happened in Miami, Florida, or Orlando, Florida, any fucking parts of Florida, the Key West or whatever, if he was recording these people without their knowledge, that is a charge, right? So all of this is going to come up. So you're right. Being freaky is not a sin with consent, but recording me without consent is against the law in some states. And some of these people, if you listen to interviews by what's that group from Making the Band, Kia, the boy group, Day 26, is it Day 26? In some of their interviews, they got real emotional about what they had to deal with when they were making the band. And one of the guys just came right out and said, I wasn't giving up my ass. We don't know if they're going to get subpoenaed. We don't know if the girls from Danity Kane are going to get subpoenaed. There's a lot of meat and potatoes in this case. She took a payment, yes, because there's criminal charges and then there's civil charges, right? Civilly, yes, she sued him. But Diddy is brought up on criminal charges, right? And so that's two separate things. So yes, she was paid out civilly, but it doesn't erase the fact that Diddy was brought up on criminal charges and she is a part of that case, right? So her payment has nothing to do with the criminal charges, because you can sue somebody and still go to criminal court. Good morning, Michael. Nakia said, and you are right, Robin. They are building his character, because having a kink and fetish isn't illegal, but it is illegal to run a criminal enterprise by using corporate monies for drugs. Thank you. See, I guess sometimes my words get all entangled and shit like that, but that's what people need to understand, right? Everybody, well, I'm not going to say everybody, but a lot of people on social media are like, oh my God, so he didn't do anything illegal by being freaky. What the fuck? Y'all ain't had no cousins, uncles, brothers go to jail. Y'all don't know how trial work. The fuck? Now, I've been in courtrooms enough times in my life, okay? And I have sat there, especially for my brother, and I'll be like, why are they bringing that up? What the fuck does that got to do with anything? It has everything to do with it when you're trying to, when strangers are sitting in their seats and they don't know who you are. They don't know nothing about you. And so it is the prosecutor's responsibility to build that character of who you are so that the jury knows exactly who you are. The domestic violence case, this is an easy one. The rest is going to be tough, I think, in my opinion. You said recording was not a charge. Well, honestly, I didn't pull his list of charges. But when they were talking about the case originally, they did emphasize that they confiscated all those tapes and people were being recorded without their permission. So I don't know how that's going to play out in court, but they did highlight it when Homeland Security took all his stuff. Nakia said, we know recording isn't the charge, but threatening to use recording to blackmail a person to do what you want them to do is. That is the point. There have been people that have said that he would play these recordings. Did y'all see the special on Netflix or whatever, the Diddy thing or whatever? Look at that, right? I think it was on that show that I saw someone say Diddy would show, or Diddy's team would show the videos of what happened the night before, okay? And coerce these people into signing contracts, shitty ass contracts that really didn't benefit them, right? Signing contracts, or this tape would be released. Supposedly, these people were not aware that they were involved in all of these things because supposedly they were drugged, allegedly. And so if all of that is true, then no, recording is not the charge, but how you're leveraging those recordings, that's gonna come up. And it is, like Kia said, these are RICO charges. Kia said using corporate money to buy drugs, fly out escorts, use employees to buy drugs, etc. They need to build his character of who he is so they can make the RICO case stick. Feds win over 90% of the cases. Listen, my brother grew up in jail. If you get fucking caught up with the feds, and the feds come after you, I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn if the feds waste their resources to come after you. They got you. Because they don't waste their time or their money. The feds is patient. They will watch you for a day, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. They will watch you. They will infiltrate your organization, plant people around. They will wait patiently. Look how long they're talking about this Tupac Biggie murders.
Okay,
Or
I found this on the web for patiently. Look how long they've been talking about this Tupac.
whatever.
Check it out.
No, I don't know. I'm going to have to call Apple. I'm going to have to sign up for that lawsuit that's going around with Siri because she just be talking for no reason. So, I don't know. When the feds come after you, they got you. And when they bring in Homeland Security, they got you. The fuck? So I don't know. These people out here talking about he innocent and they just focusing on the domestic violence. This is a long ass trial. They just painting the picture. You know, when an artist pulls out his canvas, right? And he lines up his paint and his brushes and shit like that, the painting just don't appear. Right? He got to draw his lines. It don't look right initially. He got to, map it out before the painting is there, invisible, before you can really see it turn into something. That's how this trial is to me. Johnny said, I wonder with the 2-part consent, how that works if you are in a place that has surveillance cameras or home security cameras. Well, again, Johnny, it's not just the recording of it. It's what you do with those recordings, right? Because you're absolutely right. People have security in their house, right? They do. And so it's what you do with those recordings, right? If you leverage those recordings for blackmail or anything of that nature, that's where the legal course of action comes in. Right. Well, Kia said that. The Fed case is already solid before they pick you up. Exactly. That's why I be scratching my head when I'm on social media and these motherfuckers be like, oh, he gonna get free. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? Like, all them charges might not stick, but you think he gonna get free from the feds? These people didn't even want his money. Who the fuck turns down a $50 million bail? Twice or 3 times. He tried several times. I know, Kia, Apple got a lawsuit going right now about Siri listening. It was on the news. I'm waiting because we all signed. It's already floating around out there. You could sign up for the lawsuit. I've been seeing it. And somebody said, yeah, y'all ready to get your 35 cents? Because, when you sign up for these major lawsuits, they send you like 25 cents or something. That's your winnings from the case because there's so many damn people. But I'm about to sign up too, just for the simple fact that she needs to shut the fuck up. She do. Her and the other one. I don't want to say her name because then she'll come on. Johnny said, what I'm wondering is if you walk into a place that already has cameras in there, do you give up your right as a two-party consent? Do you give up your right as a two-party consent? Well, I believe, right, that's automatic, right? And number two, I don't know if it's law or not, but if you have surveillance like that, you should put up a sign. If not the law morally, just saying this property is under surveillance, right? Because most professional places I go to, it'll have a sign that says this property is under surveillance. My building where I live has a sign that says this property is under surveillance. There's cameras. We can see you. That's what the signs say. But if you don't have the signs and many people have cameras in their house, then that's an exception to the rule. But if I come to your house and you have surveillance and we have sex, okay, you have it on your cameras or whatever, right? But do you share it? That's where it becomes ugly. Right. But are they releasing the names of everyone that was involved? Supposedly, Valerie. Supposedly. There's going to be people subpoenaed to court. However, it's supposed to be disclosed. Right. A sign or something that says we have cameras or whatever. I don't the fuck know. Stacy said, at what point do we say people volunteered, knowing what's going on, but still participating? I think the case is bigger than just the adults, right? Yes, you're going to have portions of this case, this is my opinion, where they're adults and they consented. But also as part of the RICO charges, right? The sexual trafficking is dealing with, I believe, underage people, right? And some of the ones that we know that's in the spotlight is like Justin Bieber and such, right? So what was happening at these parties, I'm sure down the line in the case, it's going to come up because a 15-year-old can't volunteer for shit. It is statutory rape. You cannot, a minor cannot volunteer for shit. You cannot stand up there as a grown ass person and say, this 15-year-old wanted me to put my peen in his mouth and he asked me to pee on him. I don't give a damn if the 15-year-old said he asked for it. That is statutory rape. So yes, there's going to be, right now they're focusing on the adult aspect, but I truly believe if we're looking at his charges with the sexual trafficking and all of that stuff, it's going to be more than just the adults consenting, right? There was underage people in those parties. Jaden Smith, he was at them parties. He wasn't of age. I think they are aware people have volunteered. It's the threat of losing their job, threatening of being exposed that causes this to be illegal. Right. That's the part that I think some people are missing. Everybody is sticking on the fact that these are just freak offs with adults. There is more behind the scenes. It's not just freak offs with adults. That's not the part that we care about. That's not the part that the feds care about. You think the feds give a fuck about people having orgies? No, they don't. They're not going to waste their resources on that. It's what these tapes were being used for. Since you said that, Roy, do you think Diddy was part of the Epstein Island stuff? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I can't say. But the people that attended the Diddy parties, also attended the Epstein parties. So we know that these adults enjoyed these type of parties. That's not it, right? It's what they were doing behind the scenes with these recordings. Cassie said she was willing because she didn't want to lose him, but it's everything that happened thereafter. You know, people, this is why I say, you know, and Smokey put it on t-shirts, right? All you got to do is, people are so fucking quick to say, all you got to do is leave. All you got to do is tell somebody. All you got to do is. It ain't always all you got to do is. That's why I be like, you know, unless you were an abuser, yes, a person that was abused in a domestically violent relationship, lived under the demise of abuse, you do not know what these people feel like. I don't know, because I've been mentally abused, you know, verbally, and I felt trapped. And it took me a minute to figure out that, what the fuck is going on here? It took me a minute. And even when I got it, I was mad at myself for so long, I couldn't even admit out loud that I allowed this motherfucker to verbally abuse me. You know, and I wasn't even abused physically, sexually, none of that, right? How many people just know ordinary people in their family, in their friendship circle, in their neighborhood that are in abusive relationships and they don't leave? And then you got the population of people that go, all you gotta do is. There's a real mental thing connected with the person that is taking in the abuse. And I'm gonna give you another example, something, a mother and a child. How many people have heard stories or have known somebody, hopefully you didn't know them personally, right, that abused their children, and these kids still love their mother or their father and stuck to them like glue? We cannot identify with the mind, the mental state of a person that is being abused, because we won't understand it if you have never been abused. And so it baffles me when people say, oh, well, she stayed. Oh, well, she kept doing it. Oh, well, that's her fault. It's like we're constantly blaming the person that was abused and saying, oh, they asked for it because they stayed. I swear my mother got punched up in her face more times than enough before she left that man. I watched my mother take in physical abuse. And in my head, I'm like, well, why the fuck he just don't go away? No, but it took a couple of punches, a couple of punching cycles for her to finally say enough is enough. No matter what anybody else said to her. So it baffles me and it disappoints me, right? Because abuse is real. And there's a real syndrome that comes from that for those people that have been abused. And I'm sure some of y'all got secrets in your closets of things that happened to you that you probably never told a damn person. It took me 50 years to tell that my cousins was playing around in my coochie. Some shit is hard to bring to your mouth because when you bring it to your mouth, you bring it to your lips and you add sound to it, it becomes real and then you have to deal with it. So have some sympathy, give people grace, especially when you can't identify with their situation because you're not in it. I saw it for 20 years with my mom until he left. Then she drank herself to death. Why didn't she leave? Isn't that what we say? So, because your mother stayed for 20 years, did she volunteer herself to be a punching bag? Are we saying she volunteered for that? I'm just saying. Because I know damn well my mother got punched up a good few times. And I know she didn't volunteer for it. I know she didn't say to herself, this morning when I wake up, I volunteer to get punched around in my face. I know she didn't. Not only low self-esteem, but also people learn from what they see, right? This is why I tell people all the time, stop staying in relationships for kids, right? Because you stay in relationships for kids and y'all are acting toxic and shit. And this kid is seeing this toxic behavior, right? And it becomes a normal lifestyle for them. Like you've ever met someone that just talks loud for no reason. And then when you say, why are you always screaming? And they be like, well, I grew up like this. And this is how we all of us talk. I don't give a fuck. Do something about it. Change it, right? Some people normalize toxic behavior and they grow up thinking it's acceptable. And some people back in the day, they were told to stay with their man no matter what, even when they were getting boxed up in the face. So a lot of this shit is learned behavior on top of low self-esteem, So I'm just saying. But I'm going to get into the positive read for the day. I didn't think the Diddy thing was going to get that deep. But, just listening to the story and listening to what people are saying on social media. And I'm like, oh my God, now I will never tell people to shut the fuck up on social media or they need to stop posting because I feel like social media is what it is. And everybody has a right to say and do what they want on social media, right? I am never going to be the person to say, now, why would they put that on social media? And why does the only thing that I say is don't put your personal business on social media. If you're having an argument with your man and your cousins and your mamas and shit, don't put it out there because when you make up with them, I'm going to be like, so what the fuck happened? I'm going to be asking. And then you're going to tell me to mind my business. So stuff like that, I say keep off. But when people make comments and put their opinions and shit like that, I don't get upset because who am I? I'm not social media police. And I use social media how I want to use social media. Okay. And I say what the fuck I want to say on social media. And if somebody came to me, well, people have come to me and been like, you curse too much. Okay, well then block me, mute me, don't come on my show because this is who I am. This is what I do. I cuss. Okay. All right. So we are in the month of May, the month of acceptance. And this message is so good, y'all, that I want to tell you that if you could see, I underlined this from 2 years ago. And every time I get to May 15th and I read this message, it's just a reminder that the decisions that I've made in the past, I don't regret any of them, right? And I stay on course with any decisions that I make going forward. So let's get into today's message. May 15th. I am now receptive to the idea that I may be blocking myself from receiving more than I am holding on to. I may be blocking myself from receiving more than I'm holding on to. What are you guys holding on to in your life that you are afraid to let go? Right? Because you think that if you let this thing go, it's going to be the end. You're going to be broken. You're not going to be able to replace it. This says you might be blocking yourself by holding on and preventing yourself from receiving more. Ooh. Listen, let me tell you something. This is a message for your ass. As long as you are holding on to what you have, your path of possibilities is blocked. The holding can be mental, emotional, or physical. In any case, it is a sign of fear. If you are afraid to lose what you have, it means your conscience is grounded in lack. Somewhere in the back of your mind, there is a belief that there is not enough to go around. There may also be a belief that when it comes around, you will not be on the receiving end. Holding on is not the same as taking care of what you value or protecting that which is yours. Holding on is what most people do when they are afraid they don't deserve more. Holding on is what most people do when they are afraid that they don't deserve more. And here's the part that I underlined. Holding on is what we do when we settle for less than we want. Holding on is what we do instead of asking for what we want and then taking responsibility for creating it. That is the shit I underlined. Many of us settle for less, and we hold on to that because we think we're not going to get anything more. How many times have you had a conversation with a friend of yours and they're having relationship issues and you be like, well, girl, you might as well stay because ain't shit else out there. So you're going to settle for less because you're afraid that you're not going to get better? Sometimes being by yourself is better, right? But we hold on to shit out of fear. When you really believe you are worthy of the best, that you deserve the best, and there is enough of the best for you to have plenty, there will be no need for you to grab or clutch or squeeze what you have. At all. At all. At all. See, there was a time in my life when I was dating and shit like that, and I was with my person who I thought was my person. And I have these jealous little fits and stuff like that. I am so far past that because I have learned that what's for me is for me. Nobody can take what's for me. And if they can take it, it should be taken. Because I know what I deserve. Okay? And I'm not afraid that there's no more out there. Because I'm good by myself. You won't worry about what you have. You will not watch over what you have. You will no longer live in fear that by losing what you have, your life will somehow diminish. When you can stop holding on, you begin to realize that your blessings cannot be taken away, nor will they go away until the universe is ready to up the ante. Until today, you may have been holding on to things and people in fear that they could not or would not be replaced in your life. Just for today, allow yourself to imagine what your life would be like if your hands and heart were to receive something better than what you are holding on to right now. Today, I am devoted to opening my hands, my heart, and my life to receive bigger blessings. Let me tell you something. this message to me, resonates with me so much because I was the person holding on, right? Mainly from a family perspective, right? When my son got locked up and his first child was here, I went through a lot. Okay. And because I love my family and I've always imagined a certain dynamic with my family, during those times, it was very hard for me to swallow the fact that my son was going to jail. All right. He had a child. And it was already tension between him and his baby mother. And they were young. And so I had to also deal with the baby mother's family who mistreated me for many, many years. Okay. And many people, my friends and family, would be like, why do you put up with this? Why do you allow them to mistreat you? Why do you do this? And I said, because my son is about to go and do 3.5 years, and I want to be in my granddaughter's life. Like, she deserves to know this side of her family. Point blank and period. And I did a lot of things to make that happen. Waited on corners, waited on streets when nobody would give me the address of where to pick her up. I had to wait outside, parked in front of strange people's houses and wait for them to drive to me. And I did that every other weekend for about 2 years. And people were in my ear like, why are you holding on? And I'm like, I'm holding on because I'm afraid to lose a connection with her, right? And I did that for 2 years. And then the relationship between her family and me started to get better. So then I was given an address, but yet I still had to do all the driving. I still had to do everything, as if I was the baby daddy. But it was because I was afraid. When my son came home, right? There was still issues in him and the baby mamas relate gas stations. Nakia, no, because Nakia went through it. She was there, so she saw it, right? So these are not lies. These are true stories. Gas stations, corners, whatever the fuck I had to do, I did it for years. And many of my friends didn't understand why, right? Fast forward, my son has 3 children, right? I got to a point where I was that grandmother that was very active in their lives because I wanted to stay connected. Family means everything to me. But what would happen is if my son and his baby mamas clash, then I would get dragged into it and it would become a problem, right? And then I would live in fear all over again, thinking, okay, now I'm not going to be able to see my grandchild. I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to do that. When I entered my healing season 4+ years ago, 5 years ago, actually, I had to mourn that. And I said, what am I fighting for? I'm a good person. I deserve better. I deserve more, right? And I got to a point where I said, you know what? I'm going to let go and I'm going to let God. If it's meant for me to be in these children's lives, I will be there. If it's not, then God give me the strength to navigate through it. But I am not going to fight to hold on to something out of fear and miss out on the rest of my life and getting things that I deserve. Right? And so that's why this message is so meaningful to me. Right? And so hopefully you get this message and you marinate on this message and you ask yourself, what am I holding on to out of fear? Because I'm not holding on to shit out of fear. Friends, my man, nothing out of fear anymore. Because I know I know what I deserve. And that's it. And that's the fucking message for today. Okay. And so hopefully you guys take that message and y'all carry on with it. Now, I know I said I'm sitting here still tethering about Texas June 21st, and it's already May 15th. My grandmother's dinner is also on June 21st, so I'm sitting here debating on what I'm supposed to be doing. And so hopefully, like I said, hopefully by next week, I'll know for sure whether I'm going to hike it to Texas. See, I'm fighting against being disciplined, um, and really wanting to go to this 3T event because I really, really, really want to go. And so I have to fight that battle. All right. And so hopefully by next week, I'll know what I'm actually doing for June 21st. All right. I know Valerie is already set to show up in Texas. Cheryl has it on her list of things to do. And so if I can't be there, I hope you guys represent for me. But if I am there, then I will represent for myself. So with that, y'all, have a good Thursday. All right. And remember, give people grace. People out here dealing with a lot of shit. All right. You see my cup, no judgment. I'm trying not to have judgment, but I'm human, and I have to remind myself, right, that we are all human and that we should not be out here judging. We should be giving each other grace. And for those that keep making the same stupid ass mistakes as our friends, just let them know. Stop making the same stupid ass mistakes. See, that's why I love my friends, because we can just be honest with each other, right? Be honest with your friends. Give them grace at the same time, but be fucking honest. Okay? And friends, hey Debbie, and friends, stop getting offended when your fucking friends are honest with you. Stop getting offended when your friends are honest with you. Okay? Because if you get offended, then y'all are really not friends. See, my friends can say just about anything to me. And it might hurt for a minute. It might feel like a bite. But I'll be like, well, damn, bitch. I guess, yeah. Because you love me, right? That's why you're telling me this. Well, Nakia, I didn't want to even talk about that because that's one of my fears right there, because they talking so bad about Debbie. They talking so bad. Well, one of y'all got to pick me up from the airport, Mark. The fuck? And don't have me stranded at the airport. Now I know you've picked me up, Ghost has picked me up, and y'all were on time and right there. So I have faith and confidence that somebody will be there to pick me up. All right? I do. But Kia, this is what's making me hesitant, because they still talking so bad about Newark Airport. They're like, the air traffic controllers are telling reporters that it is not safe to fly. And when I asked the original question, well, then why is it safe to fly out of LaGuardia and JFK if they all sharing the same airspace? Someone says they having issues too. Because it's the same airspace. So if there's not enough air traffic controllers controlling in Newark, how are they communicating with JFK and LaGuardia and making sure that their planes? See, it's just too much. It's too much. And so I'm a little nervous. And I normally don't get nervous. I normally try not to let fear stop me. But when you talk about air traffic controllers walking out of their job from job stress, and you only got about 5-10 people in there looking at the air, I'm like, excuse me, there's planes coming from other airports, Philly, LaGuardia, JFK. How we know the airspace is good? I mean, people flying every day. We haven't heard anything dramatic, right? And so that's what I keep banking on. But up until now, they still saying Newark is like on its legs, like it's wobbly legs. So we'll see. All right. But Mark, I will definitely let you know that I need to be picked up, okay, when I hit Texas, right? And then Stacy, you supposed to be bringing your ass up here in July. You got to figure out if you still doing that or not, right? Because, then we got to plan for that. Okay? Then we got to plan for that. Right, exactly. Signals going out and shit. That's what I'm saying. What the? See, I don't know. But y'all, I'm going to send y'all out on a note to remind you that even when you feel low, you can still what?
Even when you feel low, you can still
And
go.
you can.
Even when you feel slow,
Thank you all for joining Coffee with Friends, y'all. Happy Thursday. Get this message on the way out. This is Coffee with Friends, and I am Raw to the Bone. Come back tomorrow, y'all. Freestyle Friday. Get this message. Huh? Because hustle hard. What?
Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't want to
be a slave.
Doing shit my way, on the highway, and in the driveway is a nice way. Cause I'm down through the climb, I invite pain.
Huh?
Every human bitch now, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can
Hey, Valerie. Have a beautiful day. Your mom's got the key ingredients. Hey, better see. You're welcome, Fancy, all the time. Huh? I never answer to no man. I'm hard-headed as